Hey everyone, Nick here. Yes, you read that title right. I did make a bed platform for the Tesla Model Y. And don't worry, it is removable. And I wanted it to be that way because I want to make sure I could still use this car for a car, but also have it for overlanding. Hey folks, if you want to skip ahead to the final part of the video and see the assembled pieces already together, you can skip to this time code right here and you can see that. Or if you want to see the whole process of how I did this, you can stay and watch the whole video. And also, I have another video coming out very soon. Follow my page. It is kind of the overlanding intro with this car with a new wheel setup, new tire setup, and this built platform already in there. And I'll show you guys how I do my overlanding with this setup and with some tires that go with it. Check it out. Which I usually use that bad boy right there. And there's some situations where I don't want to use the big car for those trips that are a little bit shorter, and that's where the Tesla comes in play. So this right here kind of enhances the overlanding experience that you can get with a car like this. The seats do fold down, but they don't fold down all the way. And so what this bed platform is designed to do is kind of take it next level for comfort and practicability. Also not put all the pressure on the seat. So if you want to see how I did this build, check out this video where I'll go through all the steps I did to make this possible. In order to actually build this correctly and not damage your car, we need to look at structural points here. For this backside, that's really just going to be this. I'm not exactly sure what this is made out of. It's either wood or compressed wood. Has a little bit of flex, but that might also just be this casing here. But this is hard, this is not. So we're not going to put anything there, but we're going to utilize these structure beams here. So what I'm thinking I'm doing is I'm going to get a 2x8 because the distance of this structure beam happens to be 2 inches in width. To have 8 inches in length on top, or the height, is going to give me enough clearance to go over the back seats, because in the setup I don't want to have any pressure on the back seats at all. An 8-inch clearance is still going to give us access to our trunk cargo area. Oh, I'm sorry, what's that? Oh, what's that little ice chest I have in the trunk? I'm glad you asked. Well, this is not actually a cooler. This is a refrigerator and freezer, and it's one of their smallest models by IceCo, and I love this thing. It is a little small, but it actually fits completely in this under cargo compartment of the Tesla Model Y, and it plugs in to our 12 volt DC plug, and it can power and freeze things in the back of your Model Y, and it uses something like 500 watts per day, which is half a kilowatt, and so it's basically not going to have any difference at all. Without further ado, we are off to my favorite place to do business, Home Depot. Although it's not much of business for me because I just give them money all the time. Making use of returning this foil I never used. I've had this thing for like a freaking year.
Thank you.
Woohoo! I got store credit. Having this thing, it's called buyer's remorse, except it's about wood. Now I'm just like, man, I hope this is thick enough. I want it to be light enough that it's easily removable and can kind of mold to my build, but also strong enough so it holds me, and I'm like, man, I hope this is thick enough. So not too bad, the wood was only 60 bucks, and got our sheet here, and let's first put in our structure points. Alright, so the next thing is, unfortunately, there's a little lip here, and that's not going to be okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to mill around it. This tool is going to be able to get that nice snug fit for us. Alright, so let's check our work here. Okay, so I definitely went wider than I needed to, but it does clear the notch. So first I was just going to do a basic platform design that could be removable, but when I stopped for the day, this is day 2, when I stopped for the day, I was actually able to pull the seats up and close the trunk, obviously, and I thought, wow, how cool would that be if I never had to take this thing out from the back, from the trunk area, and still have access to all these seats back here. and just slide it out when I need to. So I bought these sliders off Amazon, and so now my build idea is going to change a little bit. So I'm going to install the platform on top with that foundation that we made, and then I'm going to put slides on the top of that and then put the plank on. So this whole system is going to be slide action, and I'll be able to keep it here without having to take it out. So that was great timing. We just got our slides right here, and that's going to go on top of our cut for the plank. Alright, so what I need to do here is I need to mount that onto this being my main platform. Since this is going to be a sliding application that's going to be underneath this plank right here, I'm going to have to measure pretty precisely where, I think it's about 2 inches. So that slide is 2 inches, and I'm going to have to account for the 1/2 inch plywood that's going to be underneath it. And so somewhere down here is going to be a 2x4 that is going to be drilled directly into our structure point right here. And that slide is going to sit on top of the 2x4. It will be collecting the weight of that system attached to here. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the platform that's going to fit in between here. That's going to be the first phase of figuring out how this is going to slide. Alright, so here it is. Now we gotta attach this onto this frame here. Alright, so this is now complete. It's pretty clunky, it's not as graceful as I want. It doesn't slide out very well, but it works. Check it out. I am so happy. Oh my gosh, this is so heavy. I'm not gonna lie. It's like back-breaking heavy. So, I mean, removable, yes, but ideally not removable. At least not without a friend. There we go. Slides right in like we want it. And the moment of truth. Oh yeah. Oh my god. That is so perfect. And if you look, the slides just barely cleared this. I mean, just barely cleared it, but it did. Alright, so first thing I want to do is I want to put the front support beams on this, because as it currently is, if I lay down on it, it's going to apply pressure on the seat actually. So if you see that, that's not what I want. So I'm actually going to put some support beams in front. So we'll just get some 2x4s on this side here and on the opposite side. So there'll be 2 coming down and putting the pressure onto the floor mat here. I'll create some kind of a T. So I just need to get the measurement right so that this is actually kind of lifting up on this like that, and actually taking the pressure off of my seat right here. So that's the plan. Alright, so that piece is now in. That's our front support. So I'll be using this right here. Alright, time for part 3. Part 3 now is to have an extension that I can easily remove that goes onto this part right here. There's more room in the back, about 4 inches on either side than there is in the front, due to this sliding design being underneath. I also want the ends to match up here, and what that's going to do is it's going to act as a stopper from this thing sliding. See how it's a little bit unstable? This extension is going to act as a stopper from this from moving forward and back, which is kind of annoying when you're on top of this. So that's what we're doing for part 3. Alright, so here is our cut. So in order to mount this piece onto this piece and still make it removable, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this, this is very strong, we're going to have it on both sides. This one's a little more challenging because there's only like that much space in between the edge of this and the slide, and I don't like that for stability. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to put a hole just after it. Alright, so I had an original idea of how this was going to work, and I wanted to use pins, but that's not going to work now because it's just not going to add the kind of structural rigidity we need. We're almost going to put our whole body weight on this, so I'm ditching that idea and going with sort of a removable solution, which is with a bolt. Project is finally done. Took a long time, but here it is. I had to really reinforce these side pieces here because I wanted to be able to like confidently put all my weight on top of it, and I found a way to do that with this structure right here. It goes onto the bottom of the floor, so the floor is actually taking the weight here, and I have this distributed along this extension piece so that I can confidently sit on the edge. And I want to also show that I do still have a decent amount of room, not super, but it's still pretty comfortable to drive for a couple hours if I have to for a long stretch. It's really not too bad. I have long legs, but what I'm looking at here is we have a total of 6 feet, an extra inch actually to spare in terms of total length. And the width at the widest point of this is going to be 40 inches. And this is gonna be your typical twin bed setup, a little bit wider, a little bit longer. And at the longest width point, it sits at 51 inches, which is quite roomy. I hope you guys found this video super helpful and you thought it was pretty cool too that you're able to kind of transform this space. And this is removable, like I said, which was sort of the hardest part about engineering this, you know, because I wanted it to still be functional. I wanted it to still be able to have the seats come up when I need to, and when I want to, have the seats recline, slide it out, attach a piece with a pin, and we're good to go. And so I'm really, really excited for my next trip with this setup. Haven't done one yet, and I'm excited to show you guys. Fun trip. I'm probably gonna go to in Oregon and meet up with some of my van life friends and show you guys what it's like to overland in a Tesla Model Y with a kind of overlandy style build. So hope you guys like this video. Please hit the like and subscribe because it takes a long time to make videos like this, as challenging as it was with the engineering aspect. To have my GoPro and my regular camera filming while I'm on the go with this project was also quite challenging. So help support me by hitting the like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time for another video. Thanks.